What's up, guys? Big Mike coming at you from the comfort of my living room again. I wanted to give you a little short video with 10 tips for making your backpacking, camping, outdoors experience so much more comfortable and kind of get you to a point where you'll be able to go on trips and be comfortable and not have to worry about certain things that we'll go over in this video. Tip number one, we're going to start, is organization. I see so many of these, especially these ultralight guys, that get a pack that's basically just a tube and they just shove all their crap in there. Then you got to dig through it, try to find what you need and all that sort of stuff. Honestly, it's worth a little bit of extra weight to have all your stuff organized, so then you're not hunting around for that thing when you need it the most, whether it's your knife, your water filter, your first aid kit, a flashlight, rain gear. Have everything organized. It's an easy step to make your life that much easier when you're out there camping or backpacking. You can buy something like these. I don't know where I got this, but this is, it used to have a little metal hook. It's just a Samsonite hanging ditty bag. It's got little pouches here, little elastic bands, zip up pouch. It's meant for like toiletries and stuff. But I use it to keep all my spare batteries and cords for my camera gear, my cell phone, and keep extra batteries for flashlights and that sort of thing. So that's all in this bag. And I know that if I need something like that, just grab this bag right out of my pack. Everything I need is going to be in here. If you're worried about weight and you don't want to go with something this heavy, this is probably a couple ounces. Go to the dollar store, go to Walmart, Ziploc bags. They weigh just grams, and they're multi-purpose. We'll get into that in another section here, but they're multi-function, multi-purpose. You put your stuff in here. You can put food. You can get these gallon ones. You can fit your clothing in there. You can get these in multiple sizes. You can even get these in 2 gallons if you know where to look. So you can get them twice as long, and you can throw all your stuff in there. They're waterproof, they zip up, and you can use them as trash bags. You can use them for whatever you need to. And the nice thing is, they get a hole in them, you toss them, buy new ones. Tip number 2, take less stuff. You don't need to be taking 50 and 60 pounds of gear for a weekend trip. You're taking too much crap. There's no reason to be taking a bunch of backup gear if you can trust the gear that you have. And we'll get into, I know I keep referencing more and more points along the way, but we'll get into how to go about getting better gear. But you need to be able to trust your gear to the point where you don't need a backup tent and 2 sleeping bags and 3 sets of rain gear and all that other crap. You should be able to get away for a weekend trip. It should be no more than about 20 pounds your base weight. I'm not trying to get you guys to go ultralight or anything like that, but if you decrease the amount that you're carrying, you increase the amount of fun that you have. So take less stuff, go through all your gear, find out what you can use, what you use on a regular basis. You know, after a trip, pull all your gear out and say, I used that, I used that, I didn't use that. Am I going to use it? Probably not. Don't take it next time. Just save yourself some extra weight there. And the other thing with that too, if you take multi-purpose items, you know, you take a multi-tool, that's your knife, that's your repair kit and pliers and stuff like that. You don't need to carry 3 tools for 1 item. You should be carrying 1 item that does 3 jobs, like the Ziploc bags. It keeps your stuff waterproof, keeps your stuff organized. You can throw your trash in it. That way when you're done, you get to your car or whatever, you toss it to the side, you pass the trash can, boom, goes in the trash can. Don't even have to worry about it. There's going to be some specialized equipment, obviously, a tent. You're not going to have a multi-use for that. It's not like you're going to use it as a parachute and a rain jacket. A tent is a tent. It's a shelter. Your cordage, you don't need to be carrying hundreds and hundreds of feet of cordage. If you guys are into the whole 10 C's of survivability thing, don't need to be taking hundreds of feet of cordage. You can get away with 3 20-foot lengths of cordage. That's going to do most of what you need to do, unless you're in a canyon somewhere and you need to rappel off the side of the canyon. in which case you'll need more cordage. But you don't need a bunch of cordage. Take multi-use stuff that will fulfill different requirements for your trip. Tip number 3 is improvise certain things to either decrease your cost or decrease your weight. For example, if you're going on a multi-day trip, you know I'm going to have to wash my shirt, rinse it out in a stream somewhere or whatever. Don't take clothespins, don't take, anything like that. These little bread bag clips here work great as clothespins. All you have to do is just string a line up between a couple of trees or a couple bushes, pop it on, grab another one, pop it on. These are free, they weigh almost nothing, and if they break, you can take 10 of them. If they break, oh well, toss it. Take wipes instead of toilet paper. Again, with the multi-use thing, wipes can clean you after you use the bathroom. They can clean you as you get dirty and everything, so you can take a bath in them. And if you get the ones that have a little bit of alcohol in them, then they're a fire starter as well. And the nice thing with wipes is you don't have to worry if you're like me and you don't know, well, I used 3 squares this day and 5 squares this day. Use one wipe each time and you're good to go. I'm not going to get into details on that one, but those of you who have used wipes instead of toilet paper know. And if you're worried about it being cold or getting frozen or whatever, throw it in a pants pocket or in the pocket of your jacket or whatever. Keep it warm. That way you don't have a cold wipe touching you in fun places. Alright, tip number 4. You want to budget so that you can get quality items. And what I mean by that is, I know there are a lot of people like myself who, when they're starting out, they're not sure that they want to go and spend $700 on a sleeping bag or $400 on a one-man tent, because if you decide you don't like it, then that money's just gone down the drain because you can't sell it for that exact amount again. So what you can do is just build your collection by budgeting for certain things. For example, if you want to get a tent, start out with a less expensive one. It will probably be a little heavier, but get a less expensive one. Decide that that's what you want to do, and then put a little bit of money aside each month. As long as that tent is holding out for you, put a little bit of money aside each month and decide, you know what, in 6 months, I'm going to buy a better tent. So you figure out, okay, I'll put a little bit of money aside each month. 6 months later, you go out and you buy your good tent. Then you can either hold on to the old one, or you can try and sell it and recoup some of the money that you've spent. Same thing goes with sleeping bags. You can find sleeping bags as low as $20 at Walmart or online that will suffice in late spring, summer, and maybe into early fall, depending on where you live, obviously. Sleeping pads, that's another thing. I started out with one of these guys. Just a blue closed cell foam piece of crap, $10 sleeping pad, and it sucked. I took it out for one trip and I decided that wasn't going to work. So, put a little bit of money aside for a couple months, and I went and got one of these. This is the Thermarest Trail Scout. This is the small one, so it's only 3/4 length. But it's got a little bit more cushion, not as much insulation factor, but it feels like it's warmer because of the air that's trapped inside here. And it's only 3/4 length, so it's easy to manage as far as size and everything, because it rolls up about the size of a 1-liter Nalgene bottle inside your pack, versus that giant roll of foam that as soon as you put a bungee around it, it gets a crease down the middle, and then you're dealing with basically a donut instead of a nice flat surface like this guy. And we'll get into storage of these in just a second. So the moral of the story is, start out with like my 45-degree sleeping bag. I got this on on sale. I think it was a Black Friday sale at Dick's Sporting Goods. I spent $15 on this. Normally they're like 30 bucks. It's a Alpine Design 45 Terrain Microlight mummy bag. It's a little on the snug side for me. I am 6'4", pushing close to 260 pounds. So it's a little on the snug side for me, but for the summer, it works fine. I sleep hot anyway, so it tends to stay half unzipped and get tossed over me. So you start out with something like this. That's another thing. Start looking at sales. You can find things on sale for super cheap around the holiday season. You look online, you go to certain websites that have regular sales, and you can find decent quality gear for a really good price. Alright, tip number 5. Start thinking in layers. Instead of buying a 0-degree sleeping bag or a sleeping pad with an R factor of 4 or 5 and buying all this real heavy-duty insulation clothing, just start layering. For example, you can get like this 45-degree sleeping bag I told you about. It's really light. It's not really lightweight, you know, not much insulation to it. It's basically a sheet with a little bit of insulation sewn inside it. But if you can't find something that's going to work for you for that same price, go online, go on Amazon, you get a sleeping bag liner and a fleece sleeping bag. And what that does, and then later on you can get an actual sleeping bag to go with it, but what that does is it creates a layer effect. The military sleep system works on that exact principle. If it's warm, you only take the warm weather bag. If it's a little cold, you take the cold weather bag. If it's absolutely freezing your whatever's off, then you take both and you stuff one inside the other, and you've got even more insulation. You want to do that with your sleep system and with your clothing. You take a fleece, you take a base layer, then you put a fleece over it, and then you can put like a lighter weight down vest or jacket, and then if you need to, a wind and rain shell. Instead of going out and spending $300 or $400 on this super high-tech jacket that's supposed to keep you warm down to 0, you can do that with layers. And then when you're out there exerting yourself, you can take off layers as you need to. And the same thing with your sleep system. If you sleep warm, then in the middle of the night when you find you're drowning in your own sweat, you can throw off a layer, or if you decide you're too cold, you can add a layer to it if you need to. So start thinking in layers, and that will help, and that will also help with your budget and your weight as well. Because if you're only taking the liner and the fleece sleeping bag, you could save yourself a pound or two right there. Because for the same price, to get a sleeping bag that's rated to 45 or 50 degrees, it's going to weigh 3 pounds. Whereas the liner and the fleece sleeping bag is only going to weigh 1.5 pounds or so. And then the same thing with the jackets too. If you don't need it, you can take it off. You're going to save yourself ounces, and you're going to save yourself on your budget.